Hello class, we're in chapter number 1 in our health book. Today we're going to start using our health book. I don't know if you do remember our first day of school, and when I introduced our science book, what did we do? We actually smelled our science book. So we're going to do the same exact thing with our health book. So let's go ahead and open our health book and smell it. What are we going to learn? Because by smelling, sometimes you contain that information inside your brain. I smell what? Like I'm doing it right now, and I smell healthy food. I smell fruits, vegetables. I smell information about blood, about being healthy, activities, and so on. It smells like lots of good information. So we're going to actually start using our health book. And let's go ahead and open our book to chapter number 1, learning about our transportation system. Now, some of you are going to say, our transportation system. What's our transportation system? And you're going to say the nervous system. Some of you are going to say the digestive system. Some of you are going to say the circulatory system. Some of you are going to say another system. Now, our first transportation system that we are actually going to learn today in chapter number 1 is our blood. So some of you who guessed the circulatory system you're correct. So the life in the blood. The blood is actually a very, very important transportation system. The reason why is because our blood is not only blood, but our blood carries different stuff in it. And you're actually probably going to be amazed whenever you see the small things that our blood will carry, keeping us what? Alive. Keeping us what? Healthy. So our blood is actually very, very important. So chapter number 1, life in the blood. So let's go and learn about the life of the flesh is in the blood. Now let's go and learn why. Why is the life of the flesh in our blood? First up, we have the most important part of our body, which is what? Our heart. Our heart is known as the cardiac muscle. It's a powerful muscle that keeps your blood constantly flowing. You know what? Without our heart, our blood won't be able to what? Flow. What keeps our blood flowing is actually when our heart pumps. It's pumping that blood, keeping that blood flowing around our body. So it's a very, very powerful muscle inside our body, which is very, very, very important. Now moving on. So it starts from our heart, then we move on to our arteries. Our arteries carry blood away from your heart to tiny blood vessels called capillaries. Now it starts from our heart, then it moves to the arteries. Moving on, our next step is going to be the capillaries. The capillaries are the smallest vessels of your body. And the last step is going to be our veins. Our veins will collect the blood from the capillaries and return it to the heart. So as you can see, it's just like a cycle. Where does everything start? Everything starts from our heart, which is a powerful muscle that keeps your blood constantly flowing. Then from our heart, it moves to the arteries. The arteries, what they're going to do, they're going to carry that blood starting from our heart to our body. After that, it moves to the capillaries, and then it comes back to our heart through what? Through our veins. And it starts over and over and over again. So it's just like a cycle, just like the water cycle. The water cycle is constantly just going on. The same thing is going to be with our heart. It's constantly transporting blood around our body, starting from our heart, then our arteries, then capillaries, and then veins. We do have to know that cycle by memory, and you do have to know where it starts, where then the second step, the third step, and the last step, which is the veins, where they collect the blood from the capillaries and return it to the heart. Now moving on though, how much blood do we have in our body? Your body has about 3/4 of blood traveling through it. Okay, that's children. Children have about 3/4 of blood traveling through it. An adult, like me, or your parents like Mr. Neil or Miss Alex, we have about 5 quarts of blood. So you can see the increase of blood when we are a child to an adult. So your body has about 3 quarts of blood traveling through it. I have about 5 quarts of blood traveling around my body. Moving on, we do have over 50% of our blood, which is made out of plasma, which is the liquid part of the blood. Some people, though, do lack plasma. That's why we donate plasma, because 50% of our blood is made out of plasma. That means if we're lacking plasma, we need that plasma, because 50% of it is plasma, over 50%. So it's a very important part of our blood, which is plasma, the liquid part of our blood. Moving on to what's inside our blood. Let's go and learn about what's inside our blood, because whenever I was talking about blood, about the circulatory system, I told you that inside our blood is not only blood, but we do have different things inside our blood. Now, the first thing that we have inside our blood is called the red blood cells. The red blood cells, their job is to what? Carry oxygen. So whenever it starts from our heart will have that oxygen, and the red blood cells will carry that oxygen, go around our arteries, transport that oxygen around our body, because our entire body needs oxygen. And whenever it goes to our vein, it's when our red blood cells don't have any more oxygen. So whenever they go back to the veins and back to the heart, that's when they actually go and refuel that oxygen inside the heart and go back again around our body. So we have the red blood cells. They carry that oxygen. The second thing that we have inside our blood is called the white blood cells. The white blood cells will fight infection and disease. So very important, our blood will carry oxygen. Second, our blood will fight infection and disease because we have the white blood cells. Know the difference between the red blood cells and the white blood cells. The white blood cells will fight infection and disease. And then we have the antibodies, which they fight pathogens, which are the germs in our body. And then we have the platelets. They help the blood to clot if a blood vessel has been cut. As you can see inside our blood, we already have some platelets that will actually help what? Help the blood to clot if a blood vessel has been cut. So different things inside our blood is very, very, very important. As you can see, just by looking at our blood, you can see how God created us in a special way. Because whenever He said He created us, He added that blood inside our body, and He thought, how are we going to transport oxygen in our body? And He had everything planned. And He added the red blood cells. He added the white blood cells. He added the antibodies. He added the platelets to what? Keep us safe, keep us healthy. So you can see how God is so great. God is so loving. And God is so, I'll say, smart. As we are learning about blood. So moving on to our red blood cells. We're going to learn about our first thing that we can find inside our blood, which is the red blood cells. The red cells carry oxygen. They transport oxygen around our body. Why? Because they carry oxygen. Now, we have the red blood cells. They need that red color. Now, what's going to help keep that red color in our red blood cells is going to be iron. Iron is an important mineral which helps give the red blood cells their color. So iron is actually very important for us. I don't know if you remember when you were with Miss Leoma and you went to Miss Rome's class, Miss Rome's lab, the high school lab, and you actually crushed some cereal. And then you grabbed a magnet and you actually did what? Collected what? Iron. Because iron is actually very important for our body. They will keep our red blood cells. It will give them their color. Now, what are good sources of iron? Since we just learned that iron is very important, we do have to know, where can I get that iron? Now, the first thing I told you was cereal. Cereal, you can get some iron from cereal. Now, what else? We have egg yolk, we have soybeans, we have dried peas, we have beans, dried fruit. Some of you are gonna say, "Oh, I hate all of those." But look at my picture, though. Look at my picture. You will see dark chocolate. Dark chocolate. You're gonna see chocolate. Yes, I have lots of iron in my body. Dark chocolate is actually a very good source of iron, but you do have to be careful because dark chocolate, yes, it does have iron, but it also contains something else. So yes, you can get some iron, but make sure you do get iron where you can actually find good stuff in it as well. Okay? Dark chocolate once every week is actually going to be very good. Twice every week, but make sure you're eating the other stuff as well, as you are finding good sources of iron. So we have egg yolk, soybeans, dried peas, beans, dried fruit, and so on. So moving on to our next thing that we find inside our blood, we have the white blood cells, which will what? Fight infection, will fight disease, will fight bacteria. So it's going to see a video, because I do have a video prepared for you of how a white blood cell is chasing a bacteria, and when after it chases that bacteria, it will like eat that bacteria to keep us what? Healthy. Let's gonna move on to our video. So you can see this video. The thing that is moving, the big thing that is moving is actually the white blood cell. Then the dark little thing is actually the bacteria. As you can see, the white blood cell is what? Chasing that bacteria. And look at what it will do. Whoop. And it ate that bacteria. And now it's gonna go on and search for more bacteria. We're gonna look at that one more time. Have the big white blood cell moving, chasing that bacteria, fighting that bacteria, just chasing it till the end. And whoop, it ate that bacteria. As you can see, our white blood cells, they also have a very important job, which is keeping us healthy by what? Fighting diseases, fighting bacteria, fighting germs as well. So moving on to our presentation. So we have the white blood cells, they fight infection. We just watched a video. Then we have the platelets. The platelets will cover open wounds. So platelets actually pile up to form a temporary covering over the injury. That temporary covering, we actually call it a scab. It will help the blood to clot. And it will create what? A scab. A scab will prevent the wound from bleeding, and it helps keep the wound clean. So whenever you have a scab, I know parents have told you, I know teachers have told you, they have told you do not touch it. But sometimes whenever we open that scab, what happens? It starts bleeding again. Why? That was there to what? To prevent it from bleeding. But once you open, what's going to happen? It's going to start bleeding again. And then our white blood, our blood will have to travel again with those platelets. It will pile up again. It will clot, and it will create another scab to keep us what? To keep us clean, to keep us safe, to keep us healthy. A scab will prevent the wound from bleeding and helps keep the wound clean. Now, one thing that you do have to know is that for platelets to actually clot faster, what do we need? We need vitamin K. Low vitamin K equals what? Blood will not clot properly. So vitamin K is very important for our platelets. We have what? Iron, that is very important for our red blood cells. But here's an interesting fact though. Where can we find most of the vitamin K? Vitamin K can actually be found in a bacteria. Some of you are going to say, what? Yes, most vitamin K is produced by a bacteria. So eating yogurt, which actually contains bacteria, will help your body to produce vitamin K. Now, most of you are going to question this though. Wouldn't the white blood cells chase that bacteria? Because all bacteria is bad? Something that you do have to know is that not all bacteria is bad. Some bacteria can be good. So one thing that you do have to note is that this bacteria that produces vitamin K is actually good for our body. Our body knows, our white blood cells will know, and they will not chase that certain bacteria. So the first thing, yes, I just told you, eating yogurt, which contains this bacteria, will help you produce vitamin K. Now what else? As you can see in my picture, I do have lots of fruits and I have lots of vegetables. Make sure you are eating your fruits and vegetables because they do contain lots of vitamins and they do contain lots of minerals which are good for you. Okay, so don't forget to eat your fruits and your vitamins. But one thing that will help our blood to clot properly is going to be vitamin K. Now, what's going to be your class for today? Your class for today is going to be from page 2. You're going to read page 2 to page number 4. And after you have done that, you're going to do the quick checkup in page number 4. Goodbye.